Welcome to the webinar today. Happy New Year. Happy 2016. Very excited for this new year. I am a big fan of this time of year, getting kind of back into the routine after the holiday season can be really fun, but I always get very excited when January hits and we kind of start looking at what this next year has in store for us. So happy New Year to you all. I hope everyone had a safe and happy New Year. Okay, so today, let me go ahead and get started here. So today we're going to this webinar and all of our webinars. We have webinars every other week for our Pronunciation Pro students. And so this webinar is a question and answer webinar. So we'll be answering your questions. So as we're going through this webinar and we're talking, as questions come up, please put them in the questions box. I already see that some of you have. And so what I do is once we kind of get to that part where we start just looking at questions from you, I just start from the beginning and we start working through. Now, when it comes to your question, if I want, I will most likely have you unmute. I will unmute you because everybody's muted right now. I don't hear any of your microphones. But as we address your question, I'll want to talk to you a little bit about it. So unmute that. I'll unmute you when we get to your question, and then we can talk a little bit. So if you can get your microphone ready, then that would be great, because then your audio will work when I unmute you. Now, as far as microphones go, I just use my iPhone headset. I've bought all sorts of kinds of headsets and microphones, and this one seems to work the best. So that's what I use. All right, so let's go ahead and do it. So for those of you who are new, my name is Annie Rudin, and this is me and my little family. And I live in Arizona, the state of Arizona, in the United States. And right now it's actually pouring rain, and it doesn't ever do this. No, it doesn't ever. It rarely does this in Arizona, so it's kind of an unusual day here for us. But that's my husband, and we're actually really happy for the rain because we're going to be on Saturday going up and skiing together. My husband and I will be skiing together on Saturday, and they've got a lot of fresh snow since it's been raining and things. And we haven't been skiing since our little one, before having kids. So this will be a fun little trip for us to have grandma and grandpa take care of the kids and us be able to go play in the snow for a little bit. So that'll be good. All right, so just a little introduction to our team here at Pronunciation Pro. We have Gideoni, who helps us with emails and such. So if you're having any trouble and you email me and have trouble with your account or have any questions and things kind of related to your account, she'll help you out. Anything specific to the Plus and Premier package or those week one, if you send in your week one assignment, if you're a basic member and send in your week one, Andrea takes care of those. Andrea is also a speech language pathologist. She's licensed and certified like myself, and has had a lot of experience with working with accent reduction. So she's fantastic. And she gives a lot of the personalized training for our Plus and Premier students. Okay, so getting into 2016, like I said, I love this time of year. I love being able to start a fresh year, look forward to what is in store for the next year. And in that process, I tend to make goals. Now, I know a lot of people, some people don't like kind of the setting goals for a new year, but for myself, I love it. I think it's the funnest part about January is coming to this part where we can set goals. So we've been doing a lot of goal setting here at Pronunciation Pro, and I wanted to kind of give you an idea of what we'll be working on. So this whole 2015, most of 2015 we started the alumni course. We started creating the alumni course, And that was back in March of 2015 that we started getting those lessons together and planning and figuring out what it is. So let me explain a little bit about the alumni course. So after you finish the 12-week course, so the 12-week course is our core. It really teaches you all the rules, it helps you understand the sounds and the rhythm of American English. Now, after you finish the 12-week course, we want you to keep practicing, because it's like working out. Once you stop working out or exercising, then you start losing some of what you gained during, when you were exercising consistently. And that's the same with pronunciation, is that your natural tendency is going to be to slip back to your old habits. So you have to keep practicing. You have to keep kind of maintaining those skills. It might not be as intense as you were working on in the 12-week course, but you have to have some time that you're regularly practicing. So as I was working with my students with the 12-week course, I realized I have to help them keep practicing. And so that's what we came up with the alumni course. Is the alumni course, once you finish your 12-week program, then every week after that, for 40 weeks, so we have 40 lessons that come after the 12-week course. Every week after that, we give you a lesson to help you review and remind you. And also, we add even more information about pronunciation and fluency. We give you kind of the exceptions to the rules. We give you just a lot of additional training and help so that you can keep pushing yourself forward, keep moving forward. And one thing that is included in the alumni course that's not part of the 12-week course is we do more about body language and presentation and how to really refine your speaking skills. So that really is part of the alumni course as well. Now we launched the alumni course, I think, in July, and people have been going week by week, but here we've still been creating the lessons as we go along. And so I am at the tail end of that. I think I have about 9 more lessons of the 40 lessons to complete. And so we're finalizing those alumni lessons. But I'm really excited about the alumni course. And so if you're still in the 12-week course, really kind of plan for that. Think, okay, I'm working on the 12-week course, but I still have to maintain my skills, and I'm, and look forward to using that alumni course week by week. All right, our next goal for 2016 is really about improving the program. So more bonus lessons, more practice materials. We have it set up right now. You can kind of check off when you finish a lesson. We also have the ability on the site and with the programs that we have to create quizzes and kind of test to see how you're really learning that material. And so we'll be adding some quizzes. A lot of our users have asked about kind of, if they can practice with other students. And so we're going to be kind of figuring out exactly the best way to help facilitate some practice groups if you're wanting to get together with other Pronunciation Pro students and practice. There have been talks about, mobile apps and kind of how can we make sure that you can get the videos, the videos are more accessible to you. So a lot of those things that we will be concentrating here on in 2016. Now, the final thing that I just want to talk to you about is that we are going to be starting our referral program. Probably not. We want to make sure it's nice and smooth and works really well, and we've thought through it really well so that it works the best for you. It probably won't be until about March, but March or April. But basically what the referral program is going to be is that you'll have as a student, any student that signs up for Pronunciation Pro will be able to be a referral partner for us. And what that means is that you'll have your own kind of special code that you can include on links in social media or email, or if you have a friend that you think this program would be great for, that you can send it to them. And what it does then is it tracks that referral to you and your account so that and then you can earn credit for maybe upgrading your account. Say if you're a basic member and you want to do the Plus package or the Premier package or get some live lessons, you can apply what you earn through that referral program towards some other lessons or programs with Pronunciation Pro, or there might be a way for you to then earn money and kind of get a commission for some of those referrals. So we started kind of looking into this referral program because we've had students there that got into the program and said, "Hey, this is awesome. I'm, right now I'm kind of looking for a job, or I'm, I kind of do this and I have a job, but kind of would like to do this. I do kind of affiliate marketing on the side, and I would like to promote your program. I'd like to get the word out and make sure other non-native English speakers are able to access this program." So we started putting our heads together of how can we put that together, and so we've kind of started the ball rolling on that and are pretty excited for kind of rolling that out this next year. You don't have to do it, but if that is interesting to you and you're interested in doing that, then we can tell you more about it as it comes around. And if you're interested in kind of getting in on like the first round of people, because before we launch it to everybody, we'll want to kind of have a few people test it out. If you want to kind of get in on that, then just go ahead and send me an email and I can put you on our list. All right, so now what I want to ask you is, what are your goals for 2016? What do you have planned? What is your objective? I'm a big fan of goals because I know that in order to really make progress and really push yourself and really get the results that you want, it takes having goals. And not only having that goal, but having the steps of how you're going to achieve that goal. And with the Pronunciation Pro course, there are, that's how we set it up, is that the goal is to speak clearly and confidently. Okay, you want to speak English with clarity. You want to make sure that when you stand up, everyone can easily understand you. You're speaking to native speakers and they can easily understand you, and you feel very confident in your ability to speak up and speak in English because you know that everyone will understand you and you're speaking correctly. So that's kind of the goal. That's where we're working to achieve here. And the reason for that is and really beyond that, that's the goal, is we want to be clear in our speech and confident. But even beyond that, it's, well, why? Why do we want to be clear and be confident? Well, what happens when you feel confident in your English? What happens when you're able to communicate clearly and there's no barrier there? Well, you have more opportunities in your careers. You're able to get that job that you're interviewing for. You're able to collaborate with your colleagues, and there's more that's happening within your work. You're able to make more friends and have more of those positive social interactions with people. There's so many things, and whatever your goal is, kind of that main goal of getting a better job, getting a promotion, having more friends, whatever it is, it's this goal that can get you to that goal. So that's what we're kind of looking at. So I want you to think about, what are your goals? And I'm going to pause for just a minute or two, about a minute, and I want you to type in the questions box and say, this is my goal for 2016. I want you to write it out, because when we actually, and I'm thinking more communication goals, either communication goals or kind of by improving your communication, because that's why we're all here, right? Improving your communication, what that will lead to. What is the end goal? Is it to get a better job? Is it to improve your social situation? Is it to make more friends? Is it to whatever that goal is? I want you to think for a second and think, why am I doing this? What's the purpose of this? And go ahead and write it there in the questions box for me to see and nobody else is going to see this. I don't think so. Correct me if I'm wrong, if you guys can all see each other's questions, but I don't think that's the case. But I want you to write down and just really let's in a sense verbalize it, because that makes it stronger. That makes that goal even stronger for 2016. Okay, good. I'm seeing it. So I'm gonna kind of just read to myself some of these things, and as I come across ones, I might read them out loud. I won't say who it's from, but go ahead and write it, as think about it, and then write in there. Okay, so I'm seeing job advancement. I'm seeing to get a job, to improve my English speaking skills. And then I like that, work out 3 times a week. That's an excellent goal. It's not just about your pronunciation skills, right? We have all sorts of goals. Okay, I like this. 2016 is reaching out to more people. So for this person, he says, I help people by talking. So it's important for me to communicate correctly. That's absolutely correct. I mean, I just think of my husband's job, and his job is talking. He communicates for a living, essentially. He helps. He works at a clinic where they treat cancer and some chronic disease, and for him and his goal, his whole job is helping the patient and the doctor communicate and make sure that everybody understands what's happening in their treatment. So communication is so important, and we help people by communicating clearly. Absolutely. I like this. Make my English more colorful, improve my career. That's good, because really, I mean, you think of it, and I know this is the case with English speakers, is that, or when English is not your native language, you have your native language where you can express yourself in so many different ways, and then you learn a second language, and it's like, oh, I wish, like that yearning to be able to express yourself in as many ways as you can in your first language. I like it. Finish my MBA, spend more time with family. That's good. All right. Be able to speak like a Native American speaker. That's good. Be able to speak clearly in front of audiences to deliver your projects and ideas. I love that. Yep. Okay, excellent. Thank you. I'm glad you took a moment to really just kind of verbalize that and think about what it is that you are working here for, because that motivates the kind of when you get in and it's hard and you have to be consistent and you don't really want to practice, but you have to, is thinking, what is the goal? What is this, what is this action right now going to result in? And if I keep consistent with this action, will it get me to that goal? And I can tell you right now that it will. As you stay with this program, I've seen it over and over again. Stay with the program, take it step by step by step by step, and be consistent about it. You will get there. You will. All right, excellent. Okay, let's get into your questions. So I'm just going to start there at the top, here at the top, and we'll go through. So I am going to, for the first question, let me go ahead and just pull up a way for me to write here. Okay, if you're not seeing this well, let me know, and I can kind of increase the font and everything. Actually, I'm going to increase the font right now. Okay, so first question, Osvaldo says, in the word educated, we must apply the rule of the tap. Should we apply the rule of the tap T? Educated, yep. So the rule of the tap T is when a T is surrounded by vowels, and this also includes R vowels. So I want to be clear about that. So sometimes, I'm trying to think of an example, but sometimes there's an R vowel and then a T, and then another vowel. And that R vowel, meaning ER, AR, OR, ER, you know, that's kind of considered a vowel in this rule. Then the T does get changed. So educated, edge, you, K, did, educated. Kind of like, and I kind of educated. There we go. So yeah, definitely the tap T there. I was working with a client this week too, and we were talking about the words 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, and 90. So these all have the tap T rule in them as well. So 30, D. So making sure that get that D sound. So listen for this third D, and it's going to be first syllable stress. So you're not going to stress the D, but 30, 40, 50. Oh, and that's an example of that R vowel. See the ER there? So that tap T there. 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. Okay, and 30 and 40 have that tap T rule because it has the R vowel before. But 50 through 90, for some reason, and I'm not sure why this is, it's really just one of those common reductions that native speakers have done, is 50. So if you look at that 50, there's no vowel on the other side of that D. It shouldn't be a D, you know, because it's spelled like 50. But native speakers have reduced it, and it becomes 50 with a D sound. So 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. Make sure you're getting that D sound. The reason we want to make sure it gets that D sound is because it differentiates it from 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Okay, so when there's the teen numbers, and you might be in the situation where people are like, 15 or 50? You know, what number are you saying? It's because we want to make sure that those tens numbers have the D sound in them, and the teen numbers, so 15, have the T sound. 15, okay? 15, we have to get that T in there. Now, with the other difference is the stress. So this is going to be first syllable stress, and this is going to be second syllable stress. So 50, 15. That's a way to really kind of make those sounds or those words different. All right. All right, good question. All right, I'm going to go on to Tarek. I have trouble pronouncing a long word. Part of the issue is word stress. Yes, so Tarek, and actually Osvaldo, before I move on, I am going to unmute you because I want to just get into the practice of, if you have to ask a question, I want to make sure that we can talk. So Osvaldo, are you there?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
Good, so go ahead and say that one for me. Educated.
Educated.
Mm-hmm.
Educated.
Yeah.
I'm still working in that word, but it caused me a lot of trouble trying to pronounce it. So that is the reason I was not sure that the T that's located there.
Yes, absolutely.
Educated.
Yeah, the other thing that happens here is that invisible Y sound. So when there's a consonant and then the letter U, there gets a Y sound to it. Instead of educated, we say educated. So it becomes a J sound and then the Y. So say it one more time for me.
Educated.
And then it's going to be first syllable stress. So we're going to get educated.
Educated.
Perfect. That sounds great to me.
Okay, good.
All right, good. Thank you, Osvaldo. Okay, Tarek, let me go ahead and unmute you. Tarek, you there? Tarek, you had asked about kind of long words and knowing that part of the issue is word stress. Are you there? All right, I'll leave you unmuted just for a minute while I explain this, and if you can get your microphone working, or you might not be in a position to be able to talk. So if that's the case, please let me know in your question, so I don't put you on the spot here when you're not able to speak. But so Trek, let's talk about long words. So long words, pronouncing long words, and knowing kind of the word stress, what to do about word stress. Now, in the word stress lesson, we talk about, okay, there are some kind of basic rules of word stress, and then we go into, and this is in week three, so I'm not sure if you've made it into week 3 of the program yet, but we talk about kind of the basic rules of word stress, and then we get in the worksheet, I don't go over it in the video, but in the worksheet, I go over then the advanced rules of word stress. And a lot of those advanced rules have to do with kind of what's the prefix of the word, what's the suffix of the word, and how does that affect the word stress. So there are a number of rules that go along with that, and knowing how to pronounce these long words. Now, the advice that I give with this is that I want you to really be listening to other native English speakers. And now, once you're aware of word stress and thinking, okay, I need to stress kind of these long words appropriately, how are native speakers saying it? Okay, and that's going to be the easiest way, is just because word stress is consistent. Word stress is going to be the same every time. So that's not the case with sentence stress, because depending on the meaning of the sentence and things like that, we're going to stress or emphasize words differently. But word stress is always going to be the same. So let's just take educated, for example. Educated, it's always going to be first syllable stress. Now, if we change the suffix and we call it education, that changes the stress. So instead of, and let's see if I can get kind of a little writing tool. So educated is first syllable stress. Education is third syllable stress because of the suffix of shun. Okay, education, things that end in shun, we're going to stress the syllable right before that ending. Education, vacation, situation. Okay, that has to do with that suffix of shun. So it does help to understand those rules of the prefix and the suffix and how it changes things. But when you're in a situation and you're listening to, like in your work situation, and there are certain words that are talked about consistently, pay attention to what syllable is being stressed in, with those words. Now, when it comes to longer words, let's take pronunciation, for example. Okay, longer words, pronunciation. So say your pronunciation. So actually there's kind of because this is a longer word, there are kind of two syllables because it ends in shun, pronunciation. So there is a secondary stress, A, on that shun, pronunciation. So my advice would be, okay, let's look at, come across a long word, have an app or something that you can go to quickly and just look up where the stress is, because in dictionary.com or some of those just online tools, they'll always give you which syllable is stressed. So once you understand that idea of word stress and that there's a stressed syllable, you'll see how they'll show you which one is stressed. But listening to other people, but when it comes to the actual pronunciation, say you're like, okay, every time I say the word pronunciation, I get messed up on it and I'm having a hard time. Well, the trick there is to break it apart. Pronunciation. Pronunciation. Okay? Pronunciation. And say it's like this pro-nun. You're having a hard time getting from pro to nun. So you go pro-nun, pro-nun, pro-nun. And train your mouth slowly, kind of slowly go through those and train your mouth how to move in that way, slowly first, and then you start speeding it up more and more. All right. Okay, someone had just said, I use an app for an iPhone called Say It from Oxford University Press. So thanks Osvaldo for giving kind of that tip there. So Say It from Oxford University Press. Looks like that might be a good one. Procrastinate. So I just saw that Ram, you just said procrastination. So in terms of kind of how we're talking about longer words and the stress of it. Procrastination. Okay. Procrastination. And it can be pro or pra. You know, procrastination. Okay, procrastination. Okay, so that again, that stress, nay is going to be stressed because it's right before the shun. Procrastination, pronunciation. Do you see how there's kind of a pattern there in the word stress? And you're going to see that with some of these words that are similar, the stress is going to be similar. All right, good example. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and move on. The next question here. Okay. Okay. Najian, let's do, can you hear my N and L ending sounds and see if they're correct? Yes, let's do that. Najian, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Am I pronouncing your name right? It doesn't have an N on the spelling, but the name is common. So
Yeah,
yeah.
it should have the N at the.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I figured that the N probably just got left out somehow. Okay, Najen, how are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Good. I'm glad you're here. Okay, so let's talk about the N, L, and N sound. So the ending sounds for you. So I'm going to switch over to my workbook here, and let's go over to maybe a paragraph that has the L and the N and at the ending, and I will have a listen. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Let me get there. There we are. I'm going to have you do the final L sound first.
Okay.
Oh, actually, final N sound first, and then we'll go into the final L. Okay, so with this paragraph, go ahead and just start reading that paragraph so I can listen here.
Okay. The sign on the door says the new restaurant will open in 1 week. I grabbed my phone and called my friend Jen. She thought it would be fun to dine there on opening night.
Mm-hmm.
We made a reservation for 9 o'clock. The plan is to dine alone and meet downtown by Fountain on Fine Street. If we meet 10 minutes early, we can walk down together. I can't wait to see the design on the new restaurant. The online reviews say it is very modern with a clean and fun scene.
Good. Okay, so the majority of the N sounds were nice and clear, but I do hear that tendency of just, really having to kind of emphasize it to get that ending sound, or on a few of these situations, it just wasn't as strong or clear as I would want it to be. So you have it right as far as making sure like the sound is in the right, your mouth is in the right position, you're getting that sound correct. It's just a matter of making sure it's there every single time. So do this for me. We made a reservation for 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock.
9 o'clock.
There you go. 9 o'clock. And then walk downtown together.
Walk down together.
Okay, do that again. Down together, not downtown. We walk down together.
We walk down together.
And it might be some of it depends on what's happening after that N sound that might be hard for you to get your mouth there. So 9 o'clock, you did good with that. Pay attention to when the N is followed by another consonant, especially the T and the D consonants right after it. So do the online reviews.
Online reviews.
So try and do it a little bit faster. The online reviews.
The online reviews.
Okay. Modern with a clean, fun scene.
Modern with clean, fun scene.
Okay, good. So what I want you to do is really practice. Still be very mindful of that final N sound because it's not habit yet for you. You have to get a lot of focus to get that N sound on there. But the more you practice it and kind of get comfortable with that N sound at the end of words, the more the faster you'll be able to say it, and the more common that will be in your conversational speech. So you will have to then, once you get more comfortable with it, just saying it while you're reading, practicing it while you're reading, you will have to kind of draw your attention to it while you're talking, in conversation and make sure that you're listening for and hearing that. But the practice of reading out loud prepares you for moving it into conversation. Because you have to make sure your mouth is comfortable with it first before it's going to want to do it in conversation.
I see. So, but you can hear my ending sound?
Yes. So I hear it nice and clear. So it's you're doing a good job with it. When, as long as you're focused and you're getting that ending sound on there, I'm hearing it.
Okay, great.
Okay, so let's do a little bit. Let me just hear maybe a few sentences of, let's do these sentences here. The girl played with her doll.
Okay, the girl played with her doll.
Okay.
And we got a call in the middle of the night. Don't speak. I'm sorry. Don't let the milk spill out of the pail.
Okay, good. Make sure you're getting the ending sounds on these other ones, like milk. I didn't hear the K at the end there. Milk, spill. So ending sounds, I think, are going to be a big one for you. Probably are in the habit of more dropping off the ending sounds, right?
Yeah, always. Yeah. That's what I feel bad about.
Okay, so that's where you want to make sure your primary focus is those ending sounds. Now, to get the ending sounds, it really helps to just link it, and connect it to the next sound. So the milk spill, milk spilled, played with, kind of think about it in terms of like, let's pretend they're just one word, and I have to say all of those sounds in the word, in that one word. Okay, but the L sound, and here's something that I want to mention to all of you about the final L sound, or this dark L. So the dark L, like I said in the video, kind of has a different shape to it. It's more of like a cup in the middle of your mouth. It doesn't necessarily, so like doll. My tongue doesn't come up and touch the roof of my mouth. It's not doll. But, so that's how native speakers are going to say it, okay? They're going to have that all sound. But if you have the habit of bringing your tongue up and touching the roof of your mouth, even for those dark L sounds, it's totally okay. Unless your goal is like, I want to sound as native as possible, and this is the kind of the final step, then I'd start working on that. But it's not going to make others misunderstand you. It sounds very, very similar to the initial L sound, and it's not as big of a deal to work on that. So if any of you are kind of pulling your tongue up for that dark L sound, totally fine. Okay. But I did want to make sure that in this lesson that we're showing, there is an L that touches the mouth, and native speakers are going to have that L that doesn't touch, that dark L. So that's for your information. Okay, but your L sounds good. So you do have the tendency of touching the roof of your mouth for that L, but I'd say just go with it.
Oh, okay. So you can hear that. I touch my tip of the tongue to the root of the mouth.
Yeah, it's just a subtle difference, but it's not enough that I think it would make much of a difference if you just keep doing that. Okay.
Okay.
So I say keep doing what you're doing. You're getting the sound right. So now just practice it to make sure it's nice and comfortable for you. Okay.
Okay,
All
thank you.
right. Thanks, Najin. Okay, Theodore. Let's see. Theodore, where are you? There you are. Hi, Theodore. Are you there? Now, is it Theodore or Theodore?
Theodore is fine.
Theodore. Okay, good. All right. Hi.
Hi, Annie. How are you?
Good. How are you doing? So you're working
I'm
on
fine,
that
thank you.
TH sound, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, that one is a tricky one because it just takes a lot of practice. So let me hear
Okay.
you. Let me hear you say it just to make sure we're getting the mouth in the right position and it sounds good. So go ahead and say a few of these sentences for me.
Yeah. The author will sign autographs.
Good.
He will be starting the marathon within an hour.
Okay, do
Everything
that one
happens
again for me. Marathon. Marathon.
marathon.
So you want to make sure that there's a little bit of air release. So this is the voiceless TH sound that I have right here. So marathon is that kind of soft voiceless sound. So think of it in just as far as like softening the connection between your tongue and your teeth. Marathon.
Marathon.
Perfect. Okay, number 3.
It doesn't sound natural to me, to be honest, you know.
Well, it's going to take some practice because right now your tongue's really uncomfortable in that position, and so it's a little bit, it's not as tight and crisp as maybe a native speaker is going to have. But the more you do that, and like as I listen to you right now, I'm just thinking, oh, it's just going to take that repetition before that tongue tightens more, in that position more and more, and you're able to get a more crisp, clear sound.
Clear. Okay.
Okay, so go ahead, number 3.
So everything happened for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
The wealthy will find it worthwhile to go to the event.
Mm-hmm. One more.
The toothpick made my tooth ache.
Mm-hmm. So this one's going to be toothache. Yeah, toothache.
Toothache. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So do that one again. Toothache.
Toothache.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so right now, like that one, it was like toothache. It's a little bit more kind of halted and not as fluid, and that's just because your tongue is like, I don't want to come out. I want to stay in here. and so your tongue is resisting. But the more you practice that, the more your tongue will say, okay, I'm okay with this movement, and I'm getting more and more comfortable with it, and I'll do what you want me to do. Okay.
Okay. Some exercise which you recommend us, or
Okay, so
something which.
Here's the best way. So I have all of these worksheets where you go through and you just kind of practice them in the voiceless form, initial, medial, and final, initial, medial, and final, and voiced TH sound. And so that's good because all of these sentences are very concentrated on getting as many TH sounds as possible. Once you're like, I'm sick of the TH sound, and that's part of what we're going to be adding to. I think the TH sound is going to be the first one we add to is additional materials, because a lot of students are like, I have to practice this sound a lot more, but I'm tired of reading your sentences. So once you kind of go through the sentences as many times as you can handle, then I would say pick up whatever you want to read. Say you're reading some articles online every day or something like that, and think, okay, every time I come across a TH sound, I have to focus and make sure that my tongue is in place for that, because it doesn't matter what you're reading or what you're concentrating on. When you're trying to get your mouth comfortable with that TH sound, you just pick up whatever, but as long as you're concentrating on getting that TH sound in position every single time, you're getting practice. Okay, so the first step I always listen to is, that's why I wanted to hear you, is, are you getting the sound correct? And if you are, then it's just a matter of practice. Just read things out loud, focusing on getting your mouth in that position every single time.
Got it, yeah.
Okay, so let me hear actually I want to hear your voiced TH sound, just to make sure you're getting it in the right position, okay? Let's do this paragraph. My mother
gets very sad in the winter when the weather is rainy. It bothers her that the sun doesn't shine very often. She would rather be sunbathing on the beach.
So this one's going to be sunbathing with that voiced TH. Bathing.
Sunbathing on the beach with clear weather. My brother said we should take a trip together to help my mother feel better. My father agreed and said he would rather be sunbathing in
Get that
Mexico
voice on it.
than
Sunbathing.
sunbathing. Okay, so he would rather be sunbathing in Mexico than
Withering.
withering away in the cold weather.
Yep, perfect. Okay, so your mouth's in the right position. That sounds good. So it's just a matter of making sure you practice as often as possible so that your mouth gets comfortable in that position.
Sure, I will.
All right,
Thank you.
great, Theodore. Thanks. All right, let me get back here. Questions? Okay. Okay, Madav, let's see. I'm going to unmute you. Madav, you there? Oh, it looks like there you are. Okay, so Madav, you had a question about zooming in and zooming out. So are you in the alumni course?
Right, I'm in the alumni course.
Okay, excellent. So just to kind of get everybody else up to speed. So in the alumni course, I talk about kind of zooming in and zooming out. And I do this constantly when I'm listening to other accents and identifying what it is that they need to work on most critically. So zooming in means we're getting into the details. We're getting the sounds to be corrected. We're making sure that those connections between sounds are really nice and tight and crisp and clear. And then zooming out is what we have to do, especially when we're working on rhythm. Okay, rhythm is a matter of, let's look at the way your voice, you're using your voice, the way your intonation and stressing and just kind of the overall feeling of your voice. So the question is, which is more critical for being better understood? And that is a hard one because it has to be both. Because if you're not pronouncing the sounds correct, which is the zoom in, then it's really going to be difficult because you're saying one word when you really should, or you need to be saying the other, and it just can get confusing at that word level. Even if your rhythm is nice and great, if those sounds are not now correct, you're going to have some problems there. Now, the other way around, if you're saying everything correct, but your rhythm is all, very different and native English speakers are having a hard time following the rhythm, then that's going to cause a lot of problems. So that's why I say you have to zoom in when you're practicing, kind of zoom in, practice the details. Like say you have, something that you're reading out loud, you zoom in, you say, okay, I have to work on the TH and my R's. So this first time I read it, I'm going to concentrate on my TH and R's. The next time I read it, I'm going to zoom out and I'm going to say, I'm just going to think about how everything is flowing together. How's my rhythm? How am I stressing or emphasizing certain words? So which one is more critical to being better understood? Both. I can't choose one. But for each person, it might be different. So you might be to the point where you are saying the sounds correct and you don't have to, you don't have as many problems on the zoomed in part. So for you, it might be, I'm to the point where I just need to zoom out and I just need to work on getting that rhythm. Okay. So tell me a little bit, Madav.
So how do I know that which one I need to really focus on?
Okay. So are there any sounds of English that you're still feeling like, I'm not getting that 100% of the time?
Yeah, again, cha, ja, and ja. That okay. J as in joke.
Okay.
And G. I'm still working on those sounds. And again, the vowels, the subtle difference in vowels. I'll work on that. But now I'm already in the alumni program. I'm wondering which one I really focus on, either the individual sound or overall the flow.
Okay, so for you, I'd probably, and just even listening to you too, I would say, yeah, that zooming out is going to be more and more important for you now. So zooming in, I would say, you still want to make sure you're kind of tinkering a little bit with the just sound and getting some practice there, but the majority of your time needs to be zoomed out, okay? And you're doing a good job.
So you can figure.
Yeah, so you can kind of hear, it's more just that rhythm and that predictable rhythm that you're doing a good job with, but it always can be, improved on. Whereas the sounds, once you're getting the sound correct, you're getting it correct. You can't necessarily work on that more and more, but zoomed out, there's always room to improve there.
Okay.
Okay, good.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. All right, let's see. Okay, so Daniel, you're saying when we have a new word that we will use for the first time, we don't know how, the correct pronunciation, which dictionary translator would be good to get that pronunciation? I mean, like an American pronunciation, for example. For example, like a word like hitchhiked. So who was it that said that the app for Say It from Oxford University? I'm kind of curious. Oxford is in English. So here's a question for you all. I use dictionary.com, and when I look up dictionary.com for pronunciation of a word, because I tell you, even as a native speaker, words are going to come up, and my students will come up with words that I'm like, I'm not 100% on that. I haven't used that word very much, or I haven't heard that word very much. I'm going to double check that one. So I always go to dictionary.com. One time when I was saying that, someone said, when I go to dictionary.com, their accent is a British accent. And so that kind of threw me because I wasn't sure, depending on where you're going, where you're from or where you're accessing dictionary.com. I don't know if I'm not sure if the accent changes, but for me, dictionary.com is the place that I'm always going to kind of find those new words. So if anybody has any kind of insight to that, let me know. So Osvaldo says, I prefer Lingui. I guess that's how you pronounce it, because it's contextual and has both English and, so British English and American. So let me write out that, the name of that, so you have that. So Lingui. So look up Lingui, kind of Google that. Lingui. There's dictionary.com. So other people are saying the freedictionary.com gives both American and British accents. Someone says, I prefer using translate.google.com. Yeah, and somebody else is saying, dictionary.com is an American pronunciation. All right, so hopefully that helps you be able to get that. Yeah, because that's like I said, I mean, so a word like hitchhiked, let's just go ahead and talk about that one. Hitchhiked, that's going to be hitchhiked. A lot of consonants in there. Excuse me. Hitchhiked. Long I there. Hiked. Hitchhiked. I hitchhiked. And this is a compound noun, so first syllable stress. Remember, when we have compound nouns, we always stress the first syllable. Hitchhiked. And that there's so many consonants in there, it might be that your mouth's having a hard time, might have a hard time getting between those consonants. Hitchhiked. Especially that KT. Let me make sure, Daniel, you there? So Daniel, are you there? I'm just unmuted you. Daniel, you there?
Yeah.
Hi.
Hi, how you doing?
Good. Okay, so did that help? Did you get kind of a list of ideas of where to go for correct pronunciation?
Well, and I think one of my, maybe I know that I was born in Lima, Peru, and then I moved to Japan and I lived there for 18 years. So, but I want to get some American pronunciation. So, but one, I think that from the first week, I don't know. I'm not sure if you or another or your team, your staff, correct me about the th pronunciation, and I think that this is one of the problems we have. I mean, people who speak Spanish or Portuguese.
Mm-hmm. So that TH sound is a struggle for Spanish and Portuguese. Is that what you're saying?
I think so. I'm an English teacher here in Brazil.
Mm-hmm.
Now I currently live in Brazil, and one of the problems is the th sound, and not for me. For example, there are some words, especially when there are long words that kind of like difficult to speak the th sound.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that TH sound for Spanish speakers and Portuguese speakers, and actually almost everyone has to work on the TH sound because it's very unique to American English, to English is that TH sound. Other languages kind of have similar things, but that TH sound I almost always have to work on it with my students. And that's why it's at the beginning of the course, is because it's so common for people to have hard time with that TH sound. So yeah, that is something to definitely work on with your students, is making sure that they're getting their mouth position correct for that TH sound. Because as they're learning English, make sure that they learn it the right way with the pronunciation of that one, right?
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah,
good.
that's why. Yeah, but I want to speak. I never lived in U.S.
Uh-huh.
or another country where English is spoken, but I really like to speak like a Native American,
Mm-hmm.
and I want to speak to teach correctly,
Yeah.
And someday maybe I will visit the United States, especially Utah, because I have friends there.
Okay.
But I want really I want to speak like American. The way that when I talk to another person, say that I don't have an accent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's all about, I mean, you're on the right track because you're learning and you're figuring out what the sounds and the rhythm and kind of how it all works, and then practice. It's a matter of practice, and that's what's so great about coming to the U.S. is you just get more and more practice. Okay. All right. Thank you so much for your feedback there. All right. Good. Okay, let's go. Okay, so Olabenga is asking, how long does it take to get a very difficult sound that you know how to make wired in your neurons for automatic use? I am not sure, Olabenga. I don't know the science behind that, but I do know that some of those difficult sounds, so let's take the TH sound, for example, because we've been talking about that one. The TH sound, I always talk about it. That's why it's in week 2, is because it's very, very common for people to have a hard time with that. And then not only that, but because it's the most common sound in English, and depending on how much practice you've had saying it incorrectly, then it's going to take that more practice to be able to do it correctly, or change that and kind of change those neurons for automatic use. So working on it in week 2, what I see is by week 12, most of my students are like 90-95% there with being able to say that sound correctly, depending on how much they've practiced through it. But if they're practicing almost every day, then that tends to be the case. But it's that when they're in situations where they're excited about something and they're not really paying it, they're speaking fast and not really paying attention to how they're sounding. Some kind of times it can slip back, or depending on the situation, it can kind of jump back and forth until it's really solidified there. So I have clients that I meet with still every week, and we work together for 3 or 4 years, and they just kind of want to keep practicing their English and improving. And I can definitely tell you that they've corrected those sounds automatically in conversation. So I don't think that it's it just depends on the person, but it's possible. It's very, very possible. Okay, Tarek, and I know we're kind of at time here, but I know we have just a couple more.
Hi.
So Tarek, you there?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yep. Okay, so that P and B, you're struggling with the difference between that.
Yeah,
Yep. Okay. So P and B, do you hear the difference between them when
yeah, I do.
they're
But when I
said?
say it, I mixed up.
Okay. All right. So did you go through the exercise where you can kind of feel the? Can you say them yourself? So let's do some. And at what level? So is it more in conversation that you kind of mix them up,
Yes.
or when you're reading, or what's the where are you
So
having the problem?
at the time, I don't pay attention to it.
Mm-hmm.
That time, I start to mix up.
Okay, so the key there, you're kind of at that stage where it's not quite to conversation, but you can do it in your focused practice. And the trick there is just keep practicing it, keep reading out loud, and making sure you're getting it correct. And as you do
Yeah.
that, as you're practicing consistently and bringing that to your attention on a daily basis, even if it's just for 10 minutes or so, you're just saying, okay, I'm going to read for 10 minutes out loud, make sure my mouth is in the right position. Then it starts kind of communicating to your brain and your mouth muscles, this is the way to do it. This is the way to do it. And if you do that consistently, then it starts to pull into your conversation. And you'll have to find situations in your conversation where you can say, okay, I'm talking to someone right now, but I really want to be as conscious as I can about my pronunciation and make sure that I'm getting those P's and B's correct. So you'll have to kind of have what I call structured conversations first, where you're conscious of it and you're practicing it in those more conversation versus reading. And then as you practice that more and more, then it will start transferring into that conversation where you're not really paying attention to it.
Great.
Okay,
Thank you.
so it does happen. It just does take some time. Okay.
Thank you.
All right, good. Naijen, let's hear that R sound. You're a little concerned about the R sound, so let me hear that.
Hello.
Hello, Naijen. How are you?
Hi,
Again.
thank you for getting back with me.
Yep. Okay, so let's hear, and actually just kind of tell me. Let me just hear it in conversation. That sometimes helps
Okay.
me hear it better. But tell me a little bit about yourself. Tell me about kind of some of your goals and what you're kind of working on here.
My goal, funnily, my husband always say I'm very bad in my pronunciation. That make him feel nausea.
Okay.
So that's why I say he told me that for years, and I
Okay.
know that I have bad, music intelligence. So that's why I don't pick up all the tone and intonation and stress and final words well. So that's why even after 10 years living in America, I have very heavy accent. So that's why I come to your program and
Okay.
really hope to learn to improve myself.
Okay, good. So it's really interesting to hear people talk about kind of their own perception of their accent, because I'll have someone with a strong accent that might think that they don't have a strong of accent, and then I'll hear people who have a very, small accent or minor accent and think that they have a very big accent. And so it's kind of interesting because it's very much in the eyes of the beholder. It's a perception thing. And so there's a lot of things that you're doing right. And when you're talking about, and even just the rhythm, you have the foundation is what I kind of call it. You're moving in the right direction in terms of the rhythm. It's just a matter of kind of getting it more and more refined, I guess you'd say, because you're stressing keywords. You're falling when you need to fall and rising when you need to rise. But it's just a matter of getting that kind of that smooth native sound to it, I guess. And that will come with kind of being aware of it, practicing, and going through some of these lessons. Now, when it comes to the R sound, it's more just the R at the end of the word that I would say you need to focus on, because that R in the beginning and the middle of the word that I was hearing from you, it was perfect. Like, it was great. So like the words after and year, you have the tendency of kind of going after and year, and kind of doing a very soft R sound instead of pulling it back. So say that for me. After this year.
after this year.
Do it one more time.
Yeah, after this year.
Yeah. So once you're focused on it and you kind of get that,
Yeah.
then you're pulling that tongue back and getting that correct.
Actually, I just learned it from your lesson.
Oh,
Before
good.
I say after this year, so I pull back my tongue
Yeah.
because that's one of the native speaker told me years ago how to pronounce the R sound. But
Okay.
recently, I went through your lesson, and you teach me to bunch the tongue and not pull back the tip.
Perfect. Okay, I'm glad that worked. It can be very difficult for some people to kind of adjust the tongue that way. So that's pretty amazing that you were able to kind of be like, oh, I'm conscious enough of that tongue and I can change it, because that gets tricky. All right, good. Thank you, Naijin.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, so I think we got through, there's one more question. Actually, Naijin said, how do you say take a bath and bathtub? I think you're saying, yeah, take a bath and bathtub. So take a bath, the TH sound is that voiceless TH sound. Take a bath and bathtub, bathtub. All right, good. Okay, so thank you for all your questions today. A lot of good things. Hopefully it was helpful for you. I know we went over, so I know a few of you had to leave, but be sure to come to the next webinar, and we'll address your questions as they come along. Let me just make sure here. Got through what we needed to. We didn't do the hot seat today, but come next time and maybe we'll have a chance to do that. But if you have any other questions specific to pronunciation and anything really according to the program, go ahead and email me. Myself or Gideon can respond. The comment section on the website on each lesson is a good place to ask questions and get some additional information there. And reading the comments in each lesson is really helpful too, because a lot of other students have asked questions probably similar to what you're wondering about. All right, so thank you for coming today. Have a happy January, happy New Year, happy. I hope you're all kind of looking at what goals you have for this year. I loved hearing about some of your goals and what you're working on. That's one of my favorite parts of working with all of you people, is that that my students all tend to be very ambitious and motivated and intelligent, and just they aren't afraid of a challenge, and so that goes for all of you. So thank you, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.